Let this be a message, and it can also be interpreted as a warning in the same facet. The enemy is planning a major mass attack. As we all know, that enemy goes by that old dragon, or the devil, the deceiver, Satan, the adversary, the accuser. Multiple different names for multiple different times and multiple different regions. They call this man, well, this entity, multiple different things. Now, what we're going to talk about today is just one part of a multitude of videos I want to do on this particular subject, which is more of a look closer type of subject, while also exposing the things that the naked eye or the conscious mind just does not grasp unless you really study and go into detail. These are the things that we're finna start exposing. Like I told y'all, this platform is taking a whole new direction. And if you're not okay with that, you probably want to get out right now. But if you are one of those people who are definitely down to learn and earn while gaining an immense amount of knowledge on certain subjects you probably didn't have much understanding of, then stick around. Drop a like. That way these videos can spread. And with that being said, let's get to it. Believe that. The first part of this series is going to be on the NBA, as you all can see right here. And I like to call it Nobody's Alive, because none of these dudes have their soul. Yeah, none of them. And I don't care who you try to point out. Most of these are characters who play a role. Now, I'm not going to lie and say, I don't entertain myself with, basketball, because it was a love of mine growing up. And these dudes are, highly athletic actors. So the same way that I watch a movie is the same way that I look at these basketball games. But the first things that I want to point out to you guys is this. Let's get out, the base root of things before we start exposing what it is I want to show you guys from these symbols. You got to understand that red and blue represents the two sides of a pillar, of the pillars that set before it a portal or gateway, stargate, or whatever you want to say, into other dimensions. Now, if you don't believe in stargates and portals, but you believe in scripture, you definitely should go look back into scripture and read it a lot more in depth. Shout out to Jahi and Children of Israel out here, because his channel helped me understand the missing links that I couldn't understand when it came to portals and stargates. I've been knowing that those things existed, but just the links that he helped bind. God bless you, brother, and keep doing what it is you're doing in the name of Yah. But what I want to say is, you guys got to understand, anytime there's two sides, and anywhere that the government puts their hands on in life, the colors codes that represent those two sides are normally a red and a blue. Hence the reason why on this logo here, you get Jerry West with a red and blue side, which represents Jerry West coming out of a portal. He's coming out of a portal. Jerry West is showing that his allegiance is with the darker side. He's rising out of the portal. And there's no doubt in my mind that West sold his soul for fortune and fame. He sold his soul so that his name could live on and reign forever. And what better way to make his name reign than one of the biggest sports, if not the biggest sport in the world. Now, as you can see in this next clip, 1969 was when he was elected the logo. 1969. There you go with your 9s and 6s. The duality. The duality. This is all about energy. It's all about energy. Those is 2 numbers off the Vortex math chart. Now you got to understand, this is all, those are the numbers that they need to create, to unlock these portals, to harvest the energy, to open these portals. 369. Hold on, I'm going to find a picture of the Vortex math chart and show it to y'all. This is what it looks like. And they got to get from 3 to 9. That's how they unlock the portals. And that's where you get the whole symbolism for the pyramids. As you can see, the 369 shapes a pyramid. You understand? It's also sacred gematria. You know a little bit of something about that, then you know a little bit of something about the truth and what's going on. This is the most important thing that I want to break down and show you guys. I want you guys to look very, very closely. Now, comment down in the comment section what it is you think you guys are seeing. I'll give you guys a second. Go ahead, drop them comments. I want to know that you guys are interacting and y'all paying attention, because at this point of the video is when things are going to start getting very, very deep. Now, hopefully, this video doesn't get flagged and taken down. My other channel didn't make it, like I said. You know, so this one has to go to positivity. It was going to go that route anyway. I apologize that I tricked you guys, man, into, you know, trying to build up my subs through other means. But it was naturally just to draw my people in, because I know my people follow a lot of that negative, you know, unspiritual, ungodly BS that they play on the radio, the stuff they call the music industry. Now, a lot of those dudes I really do vibe with, but they lost, and that's the reason why we got to help them out of darkness. Got to help them dudes out. It's our job as brothers. It's our job. You know, them youngest is lost. Now, it puts a real smile on my face and gives me so much joy whenever I see one of my brothers on here speaking about the Most High, speaking about him, you know, with love, respect, speaking about us as a family with love, respect for one another, for one's brother. And I got to say thank you to the guy that got on here and told me to delete my channel because I wasn't doing the works of the Most High. It was all planned and in the works. First team we're going to touch on is going to be the Utah Jazz. Now, I know, looking at this pic of this logo for the Utah Jazz, you probably don't see much. You're probably thinking those are the mountains in Utah, just a jazz sign. But I see a jazz sign busting out of a portal. This is what I see right here, which is a CERN, a LAC, the Large Hydrogen Collider. It really looks as though that symbol is showing you exactly where jazz music came from. It came out of the portal. It came from these fallen entities. As you can read right here from Google, it says the Oxford Dictionary defines The word jazz probably derives from the slang word jasm, which originally means energy, vitality, spirit, or pep. Now you gotta understand, spirit, energy, vitality. It's literally telling you that it's about the spirit and energy. What else do you need a lot of energy for? To run the LHC in CERN, Switzerland. Now, this next piece of the logo really lets you know that they're talking about that same jasm or jazz music. And for those of you who don't know, a music note is nothing but 3 sixes or a CERN symbolism. You can also say the number of man. But enough of that. Let's move on to the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the Atlanta Hawks logo also shows you another CERN with a hawk coming out of the middle of it. Now, that hawk face, the newer logo kind of looks like a Pac-Man eating one of those little pellets. You know, if you look at it in reverse. But at the end of the day, that hawk logo really reminds me of something. Right there, it looks a little more falconish. But as we all know, you know, the birds look pretty similar. A hawk just has shorter wings and is bigger than a falcon. But why is it coming out of the portal? You got to ask yourself, if America is the new Egypt in Mystery Babylon, they follow the same gods that those civilizations did. You got to understand, they worship Horus. Now, Horus was depicted as the falcon god. The falcon god. Just another one of those fallen angels who ventured over here and corrupted the masses back in Genesis. You got to understand that. But a falcon and a hawk look so similar. They kind of go hand in hand. So now you get the reason why the Atlanta Hawks logo would be a falcon or a hawk coming out of a portal. That's why it looks and is depicted the way it is. If you look at that sun on the top of his head in this hieroglyph, then you could probably make the case that that looks exactly like the symbol, the first one I showed you guys. And you also got to put 2 and 2 together and understand that Ra was his great-great-great-grandfather. That was the grandfather of Osiris. Now you got to understand, Amun-Ra, Amun-Re was the god of gods. And then Ra was basically, you know, Osiris and them grandfather. Well, they said they were fused together. So you can naturally say that they were the same person. Now you got to understand, Osiris, Isis, and Horus represented the holy trinity, so to speak, you know, for the cult practice, you know, for the cult people. They represented the holy trinity for them. You got to understand this. Also, Horus was depicted as, you know, basically the god of the sky. The god of, you know, basically the airwaves, so to speak. And if you go to scripture, who they described as the god of the airwaves, that was that old dragon, Satan. That was Lucifer at the time. When he was Lucifer, he was the god of the airwaves. So don't be deceived. These are the same fallen angels. It's the same trinity that they came up with back in Babylon. You know, back in ancient Babylon with Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. It's the same trinity. Horus is also the one you see on an all-seeing eye. He's the eye. And that's the reason that the Hawks logo is represented by the hawk basically facing toward the right. Because As we all know, during a battle with his uncle, Osiris's brother, his eye was plucked out, his left eye. So that's the reason why he's facing towards the right, where his good eye is. And that's where you get the all-seeing eye at. And anytime these famous actors and actresses, show the all-seeing eye, they always cover up the left eye and show the right one. Understand this. And you can also go to his hieroglyphics for reference, because he's standing the same exact way towards the right in all his hieroglyphics. Now, the all-seeing eye is the eye that was plucked out from Horus, because he was said to have the all-seeing eye. He was said to have the eyes of a falcon. He could see everything from the skies. So y'all got to understand what's going on with that. Now, don't worship that. That's just something, for reference. You got to know thy enemy first. But let's go ahead and move on. Next up, we got the Boston Celtics. And as you guys can see, it's a little leprechaun coming out of a portal also, with the one eye symbolism. He has the left eye closed, the right one open. And he's just showing you that he's also another part of the whole matrix they created. And to me, he kind of looks like he's posing like Ananya coming out of the CERN. It's just the same type of pose, same type of, energy being fed off from that picture. And if y'all don't know, leprechauns are very real. Leprechauns are another creation from Genesis 6, when the sons of God came down here and defiled the daughters of man, fornicated with them and took wives and fornicated with the creations of the earth. Those are the same creatures as, the giants or the Nephilim. Nephilim just means that you have fallen angel blood running through your veins. So just like the dinosaurs, just like, the Sphinx, just like all of the creatures of old, that we heard about, like Pegasus and mermaids, the resurgence of mermaids right now. That's a video for another day, but I'm just allowing you guys to know that, leprechauns were real, they did exist, and they still do exist. You got reports about leprechauns as, late as, the 2000, I heard the last one was like 2003, that someone reported about seeing a leprechaun over there in Ireland. So don't get it twisted. They are still alive. They still have leprechaun hunts every year looking for them, the little critters. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, y'all, I know we still got a bunch of teams to cover, so y'all stay tuned. But I'm going to end the video with this one because I feel like it's already too long. But we still got some juicy ones to get to. When I say juicy, I mean juicy. But we're going to talk about the Detroit Pistons for the last one. And as you guys can see, it's the pale horse. And that one's kind of self-explanatory if you do read scripture. The pale horse is a representation of the horse of death. As you guys can see in the picture with the logo also, you can see the horse coming out of the portal. But that's still prophecy. You got to understand, the Most High God was the first to initiate portals. He's the one who created portals. His house his mansion has many rooms. You gotta understand, that's a representation of portals. He's speaking about portals. That's what the tree of knowledge was. The tree of knowledge was actually a portal. It was a portal into good and evil. That's why he did not want them to eat the fruit, because they were essentially go into this portal and understand good and evil. It was a gateway out of the Garden of Eden. You gotta understand, they were thrown out of the Garden of Eden through the portal. And that's what's going on with this logo. They also, in other words, talking about, them representing death. They represent death with this logo. You gotta understand what these people are all for. They are all for the evil, esoteric, satanic, occultic world. That's what they live in. They lust for blood. They lust for sacrifice. They lust for other people's suffering. They lust to keep people down. And they want to wage war with the Most High God. But the ones who are really in power are playing both sides. They're trying to act like they're for the Most High, and then they're acting like they're for, the deceiver. But a house divided cannot stand. You gotta understand this, and you cannot play both sides. You gotta pick a side. Like Scripture says, you cannot serve two masters, for you'll love one and hate the other, and that's always gonna reign true. You gotta understand, Scripture is nothing but the pure, unadulterated truth. And as you can see right here in this logo, you see the ball shooting out of the D like a shooting star. The D is another representation of the portal. The ball, the flaming ball, is a star or a comet shooting star. And you got to understand, in Scripture, the first book of Enoch, he depicted, the fallen angels as stars. You got to understand that. And also, the Most High God depicts his chosen as stars. So, Satan is going to do the same thing, but in reverse. So that's the reason why he calls his people celebrities or superstars. He just follows the blueprint of the Most High God, but twists it and perverts it. At the end of the day, he wants his old position back as the morning star. The name is being taken, Lucifer, that name, the morning star, the bringer of light, that is being taken. He's no longer that. He's the devil. He's the deceiver. He's the accuser. He's called so many different things, but not Lucifer anymore. That was the name of the seraphim angel, the archangel, that was Lucifer. But hey, we're going to dive into this even more. Everything is going to get a lot more juicy. I got a lot more information for y'all, so y'all stay tuned. But with that being said, I'm out. Believe that.